Today on the Commanders Report, we are kicking off the 2025 offseason coverage right here on the channel by breaking down the salary cap, the draft picks, pending free agents for the Washington Commanders, and also team needs for this team as we kick off the 2025 offseason. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we got a bunch of great offseason content coming your way over the next several weeks. Cut candidates are going to be coming out later this week. We got free agency, trade, and draft rumors, targets. We also got weekly mock drafts on the channel, 7-round mock drafts on the Washington Commanders, plus breaking news coverage every time GM Adam Peters makes a big move. Plus, you guys can join me on our NFL Draft channel if you are big into NFL Draft content, positional rankings, 32-pick first-round mock drafts every single week. I'm going to be heading up our original content here on the NFL Draft channel here at Chat Sports this spring. So if you want to join another channel that I am hosting this offseason, you guys can go and find that. I'll put the link to the NFL Draft channel here by Chat Sports down in the comments and description of today's show. So let's start, this offseason kickoff here by talking about how much cap space the Washington Commanders have before they make their cuts, before they make their restructures. And right now, the Commanders have just over $87.5 million to spend in free agency, on trades, on players in 2025. And that number's only going to go up, guys, after the Commanders make their trades, after they restructure some contracts, if they trade pieces away. There's certainly moves that they can make to put this close to $100 million, which is around where the Commanders were last offseason as well. Also, when it comes to the NFL Draft, the Commanders currently hold the 29th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. This was solidified with the Commanders' loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. So that means that they will be drafting 29th in this year's draft. Here's what all the picks and all the selections that the Commanders have this year. They got pick number 29, pick number 61 in round 2. They got pick number 79 from the Dolphins in round 3. Then you don't have any picks in round 4, pick 145 in round 5, pick 207 in round 6, and then picks 238 and 249 in the 7th round for a total of 7 total picks for Adam Peters to use in Green Bay in a few short months. So chime in for me down there in the comments section. What should the Washington Commanders do with pick number 29 this year? Should they trade up? Should they trade down? If you want to stay put and take a player, what player do you want them to take? Let me know down there in the comments section. For today's pinned comment, YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And in just a second, I'm also going to tell you about our sponsor today at GameTime. And while I'm going over our sponsor today, find that pinned comment at the top of the comment section and answer today's pinned question. And with that, let's have a word from our sponsor today at GameTime, which is the best place for you to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. GameTime has a brand new feature on their app called GameTime Picks, which makes getting tickets for live events even easier. GameTime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. All you have to do is go into an event you want to go see on the GameTime app and select the GameTime Picks button. It's right up there. It's that little green button on the middle picture right there. You select that GameTime Picks button, and GameTime's automatically going to filter through their entire database to find you the best tickets at the best prices with the best views so that you and your family can get the best possible deals on any ticket you get to any live event. What I love about using the GameTime app is you get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event, all-in pricing so you don't get slapped with a crazy fee at checkout, and flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to game time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime today. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code ChatSports. It's one word, all caps, ChatSports, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. It's just for that first purchase, guys. Again, create an account and redeem code ChatSports. That's one word, all caps, ChatSports. It's right down there in the bottom right of your screen right now for $20 off your first purchase. Download GameTime today. What time is it? Game time. So now, as we get ready for cuts and we get ready for free agency here, and we begin this 2025 offseason, let's kind of comb through the Commanders roster and kind of see what the Commanders have to work with here as they approach the offseason. So, of course, the only quarterback on the roster heading into 2025 is Jaden Daniels. Both Marcus Mariota and Jeff Driscoll will be hitting the open market. In the running back room, you still have Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler under contract, but I do think Eckler could potentially be a cut candidate if they want to let him go. Chris Rodriguez Jr. and Jerry McNichols are both free agents this offseason. Then in the wide receiver room, Terry McLaurin is obviously under contract for another season. I would expect him to get a big contract extension. But De'Ami Brown, Olamide Zaccheaus, Jamison Crowder, Noah Brown, all these guys are free agents heading into next season. The only other receiver currently under contract for 2025 is going to be second-year receiver Luke McCaffrey. Then in the tight end room, Zach Ertz and John Bates, the two top tight ends on this team, are free agents. Ben Sinnott out of Kansas State last year, the guy that they drafted in the middle rounds, could potentially take the number one tight end spot and kind of, it might be his time to ascend to that role. Or they could bring back Zach Ertz in free agency next year if they so choose. Along the offensive line, Brandon Coleman, Nick Allegretti, Tyler Biadasz, and Sam Cosmi are all under contract for next season. I think there's going to be a shifting around here. I think Coleman might move to right tackle or left guard. There's definitely some things that could be changing along this offensive line this offseason. Andrew Wiley is the one player that finished the season as a starter that will be hitting the open market. Then on the defensive side of the ball, in the trench, you guys can see here that Dorrance Armstrong signed a multi-year contract last year in free agency. Cleveland Ferrell is going to be a free agent. Dante Fowler Jr. is also going to be a free agent. He's probably going to be a priority re-sign for the Washington Commanders. And then there's other players that are also going to be either cut candidates or free agents as well. Then you get to the linebacker position here, and Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner was your starting inside backer duo this year. Bobby Wagner is becoming a free agent, so it's going to be interesting to see if he comes back to play alongside Frankie once again. But other players that you have that could play linebacker, Jordan McGee, who they spent a mid-round draft pick on last year, and Dominique Hampton, who was a late-round selection. Then you get to the safety position, Quan Martin and Jeremy Chin. I do believe are going to be back next year. Now, Jeremy Chin is a free agent. We don't have the asterisk next to him, but he is a free agent. Also, Percy Butler and Jeremy Reeves are going to be back next year, along with second-year player Tyler Owens. Then you get to the cornerback room here. Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Samersville, of course, are still under contract. Noah Igbenogany is going to be a free agent. We'll talk about him in a little bit. Same thing with Benjamin St. Juste and Michael Davis. Quan Martin is somebody that can also play in the slot if need be. He's under contract. But that's kind of what the cornerback situation looks like right now. So when it comes to the free agents, all right, so let's go over the guys that I think are likely gone. We'll talk about the players that might come back, and then I got 4 players that I think the Commanders should certainly bring back. The guys that are likely gone, Benjamin St. Toast. Yes, that's not a misspelling. I'm going to call him Benjamin St. Toast until further notice here. I think he's gone. Noah Igbenogany, I also think, is gone. Listen, man, I know that Igbenogany has his fans in this fan base, and I understand why. He's a good team guy. He plays his ass off. He plays with great effort, all that stuff. But plain and simply, guys, he had a 45.3 PFF grade this year. He got toasted in the slot time and time again this season, and you can see the result with the PFF grading. Which ranked 116th out of 118 eligible corners. Plain and simply, guys, Igbenogany needs to be replaced in this cornerback room. Some other players I don't think are going to be returning: Jerry McNichols, Jamison Crowder. I think Noah Brown will likely be gone as well. Michael Davis needs to be sent back, and Trent Scott, I think, hits the open market and doesn't come back. Then Dieter Forrest and Osborne, I think, also leave this team this season. Then I got another 10 players here that I think, for the right price, could come back to the Washington Commanders, right? I think that Marcus Mariota is going to be hunting to try and get a bridge starting quarterback job somewhere. If he can't get that, I think he'll be back here in Washington. Bobby Wagner, I think that we talked about it on yesterday's show, actually, guys. I think Bobby Wagner, his speed is starting to get a little bit cooked. So do the Commanders really feel like he can still be the guy that can anchor this defense? I guess we'll find out. Zach Ertz, another guy that's aging, but had a really good season this year. Getting open, still a very crafty route runner. Cleveland Ferrell really came on towards the end of the season, made some big plays. De'Ami Brown really played well in the postseason outside of the NFC Championship game. Sheldon Day had a really impressive season this year. I'd love to bring him back. Zane Gonzalez was impressive throughout the year. John Bates, really good blocking tight end that I know Dan Quinn really likes. Then Chris Rodriguez Jr. and Cornelius Lucas are other pieces that I wouldn't mind bringing back as well for depth at those respective positions. And then the 4 guys that I would personally bring back for the 2025 season: Dante Fowler Jr., the edge rusher; Jeremy Chin, the strong safety. He's such a good fit in this system. Alameda Zaccheaus, I think, is a really good depth piece at wide receiver that I'd love to keep around here in Washington. Good route runner, really good in the red zone, and then he also provides a punt return specialty as well. And then speaking of punting, you got Tress Way, who is a free agent this offseason. I would love to bring him back as well. Had a really good season as the punter of the Washington Commanders. So make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. If you're enjoying today's content, if you are excited for this offseason with the Washington Commanders, there's going to be a lot of moves that are being made, lots of chess pieces being moved around. If you're going to be with us throughout the entire offseason here, click that thumbs up icon to help out today's video. Then the final item here on today's show is the team needs. We've gone over the roster. We've gone over the pending free agents. We've gone over the guys that I think that the Commanders are going to consider bringing back versus the guys they're going to be, letting go this offseason. But at the end of the day, I think this is what we're looking at here in terms of the team needs. Okay, I think offensive tackle is going to be a big one for the Washington Commanders. And, I do think that I would replace both of the offensive tackles on this team. All right, now Brandon Coleman, I still want to be a part of the solution. I would rather have him go to right tackle or left guard as opposed to where he played this year at left tackle. I know that this team drafted him with the intention of potentially developing him into a left tackle, but I just don't think that his feet and his hands really work in unison the way that they need to be in order for him to be a full-time starting left tackle. So I'd rather go out in free agency or in the draft and get a legit NFL left tackle, and I would put Coleman at left guard, and that is another need that I have on my list here, which is left guard to replace Nick Allegretti, who I think that it's going to be probably kept on this team next year as a really nice depth piece. Somebody that can play either guard spot and has experience with that, but I just don't think he's a starting capable player on a team that's going to be trying to compete for a Super Bowl next year. Wide receiver is going to be a really interesting one as well. Which guys do they bring back? Which guys do they bring in? That's going to be a very interesting question. Defensive end. Cleveland Ferrell's a free agent. Do you bring him back, or do you maybe draft somebody to be a true number one edge rusher in the future? Do you bring back Dante Fowler Jr.? Then when it comes to the cornerback position, I think the big question at that spot is where do you put Mike Sainristil moving forward? Because they drafted him to kind of be, the slot defender in this defense, and that's kind of his specialty. I think he is a better slot defender than an outside corner, but he played very well on the outside this year alongside guys like Benjamin St-Juste and Michael Davis. And of course, Emmanuel Forbes. I think Mike Sainristil was the most consistent outside corner for this team this year, but with Noah Igbenogany hitting free agency this year, you could certainly make an argument, hey, let's go out and get another outside corner in the draft or in free agency so we can move Mike Sainristil into the slot where we originally drafted him to play. So you be the coach for me down there in the comment section. Where should Mikey Sainristil play in 2025? Type O if you think he should play on the outside, or type S if you think he should be playing in the slot. And then some other team needs here. I got inside linebacker with Bobby Wagner slated to hit free agency. Running back, I think that you need to find somebody that could potentially be a legit number one. There's a lot of really good running backs in this year's draft class, so that's probably how I would address that. You need a backup quarterback, whether that's Marcus Mariota or whether that's somebody else. I don't know what's going to happen here. It's all going to depend, in my opinion, on if Mariota can get a bridge quarterback job somewhere else. He played really, really good football this year, guys, in terms of the advancements he made in his stats. Now, obviously, it was a small sample size, but you take a look at his career numbers versus what he did with this team in 2024. Of course, he benefited from the Cognized VR technology that the team invested in this year, and he played the best football of his career. He even led a 3-touchdown second-half performance against a pretty decent Dallas Cowboys defense in the regular season finale. And I think that a lot of teams looked at those performances and are looking at Mariota as a legit bridge quarterback option if they're looking to bring in a rookie in the NFL draft this year. Then the final team need I have is nose tackle, just because I think that they're going to think about trading Daron Payne this offseason. Daron has been kind of the run stuffer in the middle of the defense this year. He's been less disruptive. He's got a very big cap hit. I think that if I were the Commanders, I'm at least shopping Daron Payne to see if I can get that kind of cap off my books, and I'm going to see if I can get a better nose tackle for 2025. So sound off for me down there in the comment section. What's the biggest need for the Washington Commanders in 2025? For me, I think the biggest need is to figure out the offensive line. All right, I think this is an offensive line that showed some good things this year, and they have a few very good pieces on there already. But I think that there's an upgrade that needs to be made and a step that needs to be taken forward here in 2025 if this team is going to win a Super Bowl next season. So let me know your guys' opinion on the biggest offseason need for the Washington Commanders. But before we get and that'll be the end of today's show, guys. I really do appreciate all of your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Again, guys, check me out on the NFL Draft channel. We're going to be putting out a video today of the first day of Senior Bowl practice, winners and losers from Mobile. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, hail to the Commanders.